All right, so I welcome you to today's session. We're going to be discussing how you can fast for health purposes, okay? And specifically how you can reverse lifestyle diseases. I simply wrote hypertension and diabetes here because those are the two lifestyle diseases that I focus on, okay? But usually fasting when you fast for health purposes, you are able to reverse most lifestyle diseases, okay? So let's discuss it. And before we begin, I would like to ask if you are a part of the new group. Well, to be here, you have to be a part of the community, okay? But if anyone is not, if anyone happens to be here, maybe a friend shared the link or someone in the previous groups, you have a friend there and the person shared the link with you, please make sure that you are a part of the new community, okay? Because that is going to keep you up to date with the content that I share. All right. And I also want to let you know that I would never call you to ask you for any I would never call you to ask you to release any code to me, especially through your WhatsApp. Okay, I would never call you to ask for that. Okay. Can you still see my screen? I can't see my screen any longer. Let me share again. Okay, you should be able to see it now. I'm sorry, I'm just trying to minimize my screen. Okay. All right, better. Okay. So let's begin. Fasting is a part of dieting. Okay. Human beings, when we talk about dieting, we discuss things like different carbohydrates and proteins and fatty foods that you can eat. But fasting is one of the parts of dieting as well. Okay, because humans are designed to have an eating window and a fasting window. So if you're not fasting, then there's something seriously wrong with your diet. And it's because many of us did not take fasting seriously that we ended up, with hypertension and diabetes and arthritis and some other lifestyle diseases. Okay. So fasting doesn't mean to starve your body, because your body is actually eating even when you are not putting food in your mouth. Okay. So fasting simply means that you are going from sugar burning to fat burning. Sugar is, if you have glucose or you have sugar, that's what your body would most likely use to give you energy. Okay. However, your body's most preferred form of fuel or energy is actually fats. Okay. Fatty food. That would help you be at your best, okay, in terms of movement. Okay, so also that your fasting is working when you don't have any appetite. Okay, that you are making progress when you can go longer hours without feeling like you're about to die. Okay, so fasting is a part of your human diet, and there are so many benefits of fasting. Some of them you already know, so I don't need to go over them again. Okay, however, it's important to note that fasting can give you so many benefits, especially those of you that are dealing with a fatty liver or even dealing with things like kidney disease. In about a month, 50% of most of your fatty liver would be gone. Or if you're dealing with kidney disease, you will be able to better reverse that. Even things like hypertension and diabetes. If you give yourself 1 month to take your fasting seriously, to take your fasting window for about 16 hours, you are going to see a notable difference in your health. Okay. You work better neurologically. Your brain works better when you are not eating. Okay. Your immune system also improves and you are able to reverse most of your lifestyle diseases, because when you give your body time to make use of its reserve, you are allowing your body to enter into its healing mode. And it's something that we call autophagy. Okay, that is simply when your body starts to heal itself without any additional help. Okay. So let's talk about fasting. How exactly should you fast? The first step to fasting properly is to simply skip your breakfast, okay? To move your breakfast, okay? Now, this is the easiest way to fast, the simplest way, because you are already fasting from the night before, okay? So you already fast, depending on how long you sleep, you're already fasting for about 6 to 8 hours the night before. And during this fast, it is important that you when you skip your breakfast, it's important for you to differentiate, because there is this thing we call morning hunger. Okay, and that morning hunger is simply a hormonal shift, because when your body is transitioning from when you are asleep to when you wake up in the morning, your body releases some hormones, and one of those hormones is cortisol. Okay, now cortisol can make you feel hungry, but if you ignore that for a few hours, you would realize that it goes away. Okay, so you have to differentiate between you just eating out of habit or hormones and actual hunger. Okay, so the first step to fasting, or the easiest way to fast, or the best or most preferred way to fast, is to just move your breakfast. Push your breakfast down. You can skip it if you want. And if you are just doing fasting for the first time, and you go past 9 a.m. without eating food, and you are starting to feel dizzy and tired and very weak, and you feel like if they don't give you food now, you will just drop dead, then it's best that you eat. That means that you are not used to fasting, okay? So it's good to always start small, but the best way to do it is to just move your breakfast. Now, you can have coffee, and I will tell you some of the acceptable liquids that you can take during the period of your fast. So coffee is one of them. You can put butter in your coffee, or coconut oil, or MCT oil, but you are not allowed to put sugar and milk, because if you do that, then you've kicked yourself out of your fasting phase. Okay, so when you skip your breakfast, the next thing is lunch and dinner. Now, when it's time for you to eat, your lunch and dinner should be in a certain way. All right, remember that you are fasting for medical purposes, and you are not just restricting yourself from food for a few hours because you just want to. No, your fasting has a purpose, right? And that the purpose of your fasting is that you want to be able to reverse your health problems. So you have to be strategic about it, and you have to be intentional about it. Now, when it's time for you to eat your lunch or dinner, you are going to take no more than 100 grams of carbohydrates. Okay, this can be at your lunchtime or your dinner time. Your 100 grams of carbs, you can equate it to about a cup. Okay, that is the measurement that you need to take. So whatever you are eating, be it eba, be it rice, be it potato, be it yam, whatever it is that you are eating, you're going to make sure that it is no more than 1 cup. Now, that may seem like, oh, that's such a little amount of food for you to eat. But honestly, that is the best way to do it. Okay. And then you can then heap up your plate with vegetables and meat and chicken and egg and fish and whatever protein or fat that you want to eat. In fact, you can go as high as you want until you are very, very full. But you say that carbohydrates, you have to bring it down to about 100 grams or 1 cup. Okay. Now, if you want healthy varieties of protein and healthy fats you can choose from as a Nigerian, then you refer back to your Eat as a Human Being ebook. Okay, I listed so many of them, fats and proteins that you can choose from depending on the ingredients that you have at home. Okay. Now, between your lunch and your dinner, which is basically your eating time, it will be best for you to abstain from snacks. Okay, don't say that because it is your fasting time, you now want to consume gala and biscuits and all that. Again, remember that you are not fasting for just fasting's sake. You are fasting because you want to reverse a medical condition. Right. So this is not any type of fasting you just do, or because let's say you are in a religious phase like Ramadan or even Lent for Christians, and you are required to fast. Okay, that is not the same thing as fasting for medical purposes. So there is no snack in between for you when you are fasting to reverse a medical condition, and nighttime or midnight eating has to go. Okay, your eating window should also close by latest 7 p.m. Okay, latest 7 p.m. you should be done eating your food. Now, I know that some people have this issue with nighttime or late time snacking or nighttime eating. Some people can wake up as early as 2 a.m. and start turning eba in the early morning. Okay. I am not used to that, and I am a Nigerian. But I see it online where people say that you wake up in the morning and you wanted to like go to urinate, and all of a sudden you just found yourself in the kitchen, or you are already making semo, you are warming soup. That is not healthy. That is not healthy at all. And honestly, if you are doing that, it has to stop, especially in your age range. Okay. My audience is not made up of people in their 20s or people in their early 30s even. Okay, so most of you are advanced in age, and it is not a healthy habit if you are still eating at midnight. Okay, it has to stop, and that is going to take some self-discipline from you, because honestly, you are not going to die if you don't eat at midnight. Okay, or if you don't snack at midnight. If you are working at the time, there are some healthier choices for you that you can take. Okay, but ensure that you are not indulging in eating especially heavy food at midnight. Okay, so another way to curb that hunger for you, sometimes it's honestly out of habit, because your body has a rhythm, your body has a cycle. Your body knows when it is night. Okay, except you have been or you are usually awake for many nights in a row, that it is now, a normal thing for you. But everybody has the same type of rhythm or circadian clock. Your body knows when it is morning and it knows when it is night. Certain hormones are released in the morning and certain hormones are released at night. Okay, so if you are having your dinner, try to have your dinner with lots of fats. Eat your salads first as well, so that you can curb that hunger to eat at midnight. And remember, you can also go to bed. You can also go to bed earlier. Okay. Okay. So there is another mistake that we are making when it comes to fasting. Okay, the big mistake that many of us make when it's time to fast for medical purposes is that you are undoing your fast. Okay, now there is a pattern to it. So you go for a period of time without eating, and then there's also a period where we call time to break your fast or break fast. And then there's a period that we call your eating window. Many of us undo what our body has started by immediately eating heavy meals that are full of carbohydrates immediately after fasting. It's like you are just checking the time. Once it is 6 p.m., just get my 6 wraps of fufu ready to go. That is not the way to do it when you are fasting for medical reasons. Okay. If your fasting is so daunting or so stressful or really heavy on you that you don't think you can go longer, then it is better for you to break your fast than for you to go longer and then just consume in bulk, without doing it properly, because you just reversed whatever progress your body was making during the period of your fast. So there is a fasting period. There's also that space in between your eating window, and we call that the break fast. Now, this is what so many people don't know. An hour or 2 hours before you begin to eat your proper first full meal of the day, let's say by 2 p.m., you're about to break your fast, you can start eating from 1 p.m. Now, at that 1 p.m., you can take simple meals or a simple meal, something like 2 eggs or avocados. It doesn't have to be a full meal. Okay, or you can have chicken ready, or you can even have Greek yogurt, you can have granules that you can snack on or chew on before you then have your full first meal of the day. And that's when you can now have your 100 grams of rice and stew or vegetable stew or whatever food that you want to eat. Okay, and for diabetics, you have to be careful about that, right? But before you have that first full meal of the day, 1 to 2 hours before that meal, you have to gently and lightly break your fast. Okay, and you eat in this order. You eat, first of all, your vegetables before your protein and fatty foods, and then you eat your carbohydrate foods last. Okay, so this is also very important, because you need your body to slowly get into that eating window and not just, consume large amounts of food immediately after fasting. That would not give you the best kinds of results that you need. Okay, and you can also consume. Okay, these are some mistakes that we make during eating or breaking our fast. So if you are fasting, let's say from morning time till about 2 p.m. and by 11 a.m. you're like, I'm so hungry. Let me just take one slice of bread. Okay, let me just take one slice of bread. That is not fasting for medical reasons. Okay, you are just restricting yourself from food. You having that one slice of bread is going to ruin your fasting results. Okay, and if you also have protein while you are fasting, that can also throw you off balance. Okay, while fasting. So there are some things that are acceptable when fasting, and some things are unacceptable. Okay, so some acceptable things that you can take that would not break your fast are some of your herbs like your ginger tea, your green tea, your cinnamon tea, your cardamom, coffee, hibiscus tea, that is zobo, electrolyte water, water with apple cider vinegar or lemon. So for those people that ask, when I am fasting, can I take water? This is your answer. The answer is yes, you can take water when you are fasting, and you can also take other teas as well. That is not going to kick you off your fasting period. Okay, so all of these are acceptable. The unacceptable ones are your alcohol. Some unacceptable things to take while you are fasting are alcohol, sodas, milk, or any juice or tea that contains sugar or sweeteners, even if it's fruits. Okay, you are not allowed to take that while fasting. Even if it's a smoothie, you're not allowed to take that during fasting. Whether it's a vegetable smoothie or it's a fruit smoothie, whatever it is, you are not allowed to take that during fasting. The only thing that would not kick you off your fast are simple teas, like I have mentioned here, your coffee and water. Okay, those are the only things that would not kick you off your fasting period. Any other thing, even protein foods are going to kick you off your fast because they are going to raise your insulin. And the point of fasting is that you want to keep that insulin level low so that your body can actually start healing. Okay. Now, I am talking a lot about protein and fatty foods or healthy fats. And some people may be wondering, wouldn't eating more of protein foods such as meat or eggs raise my cholesterol? Especially somebody that's trying to reverse a fatty liver, for instance, right? Or somebody has high cholesterol and I'm telling them that they have to eat more meat or eggs or chicken. Isn't that going to raise your cholesterol? Now, if you really understand, and if you've been following me for a while, especially during the period of my cholesterol session, I took my time to explain this cholesterol myth, and I took my time to help you understand the essence and the purpose of cholesterol. Okay, so if you really, really understand what is going on, you would see that it is not scary. Also, there are different types of LDL. There are different types of LDL. So when you go for a lipid profile test and you see your total cholesterol, HDL cholesterol, VLDL, and LDL, under that LDL, they can still do further tests to determine whether your LDLs are actually good or bad. Okay, because LDL is not just bad cholesterol. LDL simply means low density lipoprotein. Okay, that's what it means. Low density lipoprotein. There is nothing bad in the full meaning of LDL. It's simply low density. Okay, now in that low density, there can be good and bad as well. Okay, so there are further tests that you can take, an extended version. I hope that you can hear me. There is a very loud noise in the background. I hope that you can hear me, please. Can you still hear me clearly? Okay, okay. Because there's a very loud noise. I hope that it's not you can't hear it too. All right. So I was saying that there are different types of LDL. So you can actually determine whether your LDL is good or bad. Okay, because whether you like it or not, your body is going to produce cholesterol, especially your liver. Okay, so if you need more on this cholesterol topic, I would simply revert you back to my cholesterol sessions. I had to break it down into 2 sessions, okay, because there's a lot to talk about. All right. However, you eating more of these things is not going to endanger your health. Okay, because what is really going to endanger your health is VLDL. If you are really concerned about the type of LDL that would really, really harm you, or when you look at your lipid profile test, if you really want to be sure of your health progress, or whether a heart attack or a heart disease or a stroke is going to come, look at your VLDL and your triglycerides more than you look at your LDL and total cholesterol. Those are far more important markers than your just LDL cholesterol that we usually focus on, okay? Because some people even have this low LDL and they still suffer things like strokes and the rest of them, okay? Now, in the fat molecule, we have triglycerides, which is what your body would then turn and burn for energy when you are fasting. And then there is cholesterol that your body would use to repair the damage that has been done, to your system by you consuming all these processed foods and through the period that you did not fast. Okay, so cholesterol is one of the things that your body uses for repair. Okay. All right, so let's answer some commonly asked questions in this fasting topic. Can I exercise during a fast? The answer is yes, okay? However, I would advise that you move your exercise to the beginning of your fast, okay? So move your exercise to the beginning of your fast. I personally exercise in the morning when I am just starting out my fast. I don't eat breakfast. My first meal of the day is usually by 12, or if I am able to, by 2 p.m. Okay, so I exercise at about 8 a.m. in the morning. If you exercise at night time, you can exercise after your dinner or before your dinner. That way, you are exercising at the beginning of your fast. Okay, and it is important that you do that because you want your energy to be high. I mean, we don't want somebody to be exercising and then we hear that you fainted in the name of exercise during a fast. Okay, so if you want to exercise, you can, but perform your exercise at the beginning of your fast so that your body has enough energy to carry you. Okay, and also make sure that you are not doing high intensity exercises during the period of your fast. Okay. Can I take supplements while fasting? Yes, you can take your supplements while fasting because not all supplements require food for them to be absorbed. Okay, some supplements are water soluble, while other supplements are fat soluble. Now, a supplement like your wellness pack supplement is actually fat soluble, so you need food to consume it. Okay, so you can take your supplements during your eating window, during your lunch or your dinner. Okay. Can I take medications while fasting? Yes, you cannot take your medications while fasting. There are some medications that may cause you, you would react to them if you go without food. Some medications anyway. While others, it's depending on your body system, it may not cause you so much harm, but it is better that you take your medications with food, okay? So that you don't break down and you start dealing with things like ulcer. If you don't have ulcer and you don't react to the medications more than you are supposed to, because some medications have side effects, right? We all know that some medications have side effects. So it is better for you to take your medications within your eating window, okay? If it is a medication that you cannot skip, then eat little food, take the medication and continue your fast, okay? However, if it's a medication that you can skip, then you can just skip the medications for that morning and then you eat your lunch and take your medications, then you continue with your fast. Can I fast as an ulcer patient? Yes, ulcer patients can fast, okay? It is good actually for an ulcer patient to fast because like I said, fasting is essential when it comes to healing from certain diseases, right? Especially lifestyle diseases, and ulcer is one of them, okay? However, if you are just starting out as an ulcer patient, you have to check yourself. Don't go for many hours in the name of fasting, and then you go hours that are unbearable for you, okay? You can start by step one, just moving your breakfast further. Okay, so that's early morning fast or extending that night fast that we all do. If you go a few hours without food, let's say 3 hours, okay, instead of eating your breakfast at 7 a.m. or 8 a.m., you can extend it a little. And if you are able to go without food, that is fine. You can do that, okay? Another way for ulcer patients to fast is to actually have your breakfast and then fast through your afternoon period. Okay, so the next time you are going to eat as an ulceratic patient is in the evening times. Okay, now you can also fast in a different way for ulcer patients, which is majorly by reduction of carbohydrates. So eating more vegetables and fats and protein is a form of fasting. Okay, for an ulcer patient, just so that you always have something in your stomach to avoid that irritation that you are trying to avoid. Okay, so I hope that this answers your question because they are very important questions and I know that it may come up again. Okay, and remember that you have these acceptable liquids that are healthy for you to take during your fasting period, so you can depend more on them. Let's say within those 3 hours that you want to fast as an ulcer patient, you can take those liquids to just keep you moving throughout that period so that there is no irritation in your stomach during the period of your fasting. Okay, so I really hope that these are clear. If it's not clear, please let me know in the chat. Okay, and of course, you can make changes. So 80% of your healing comes from you simply eating the right things. Okay, and like I keep saying, there is no specific diet for one specific condition. Okay, most lifestyle diseases are beaten by the same blueprints. So your Eat as a Human Being ebook just outlines the acceptable carbohydrates, the acceptable proteins, the acceptable fats, the acceptable liquids, acceptable sweeteners or sugars if you want them during your eating window. You know, all these things, your cooking oils, all classes of foods are listed in the Eat as a Human Being ebook. So all you have to do is to just pick your most preferred ingredients, especially the ones that you have at home for the day, and just create what you're going to eat for that day. Instead of me writing out a meal plan for you or somebody else writing out a meal plan for you, and it seems it may be so strict that you may not be able to keep up with it. So this just gives you so much more flexibility, okay, when it comes to your eating choices. And then you also don't have to wonder, is this good for me? Is this bad for me? Is this good for me? Is this bad for me? Okay, so that eliminates that confusion as well in this ebook. Okay, all right. And that's the end of our fasting session. So we discussed some important things today that are different when it comes to fasting for medical purposes, right? Number one, if I'm just trying to recall, is that you should move your breakfast, right? Moving your breakfast is the best way to do it. And then when it's time for you to eat, make sure that your carbohydrates are about just 1 cup. Then you eat as much as you can with your protein and your fatty foods. Is try to stop eating by 7 p.m. and no snacking in between. And you have to make sure that you don't undo your fasting results by just breaking your fast with a heavy meal. Okay, let there be a period at about 1 to 2 hours before you now have your full meal or your first full meal of the day or your next full meal. Let there be a period where you break your fast. And this can be something simple as you just eating egg or just taking avocado or just having Greek yogurt or even granules if you know the other options are just far-fetched for you. Everybody can get granules and just chew on it before you then have your full meal. Okay. And then when it's time for you to eat, start with your vegetables and then your protein, like your meat, your chicken, and then your fatty foods before you then have your carbohydrates. Okay. And then when it is time for you to fast, you have your fasting acceptable liquid. So you can choose any of these, but no sweeteners, no sugar, no milk, no fruit juice. Okay. No vegetable smoothie during the period of your fasting. Okay. And then the commonly asked questions that I answered, and then you making changes. All right. So that's simply it. That is simply it for fasting for health reasons. Okay. So let's answer this short quiz just to let me know that you followed me today. Why do we fast? Is it to help our body heal and burn fats? or to show that we are the strongest, or to starve ourselves? Why do we fast? A, B, or C? I really hope that you can hear me because there's this very loud noise, but I hope that you can hear me fine. Okay. So why do we fast? Do we fast to help our body heal and burn fats, or to show that we are the strongest, or C, to starve ourselves? You can just type down your answer if it's A, B, or C in the chat. Okay. Exactly, A. All right. Now let's go to question 2. How do people undo their fasting results? Is it by drinking ginger tea during fasting, B, taking a slice of bread, or C, sleeping well? How do people undo their fasting results? Okay, it seems like we are a bit conflicted on number 2. Some people say it's A, some people say B, others it's C. Okay, the correct answer to this is B. Now, let me quickly explain. We have a period of fasting where you go for a couple of hours without eating food. Okay. Now, there is nothing wrong with you taking a slice of bread. But if you take a slice of bread during your fasting period, then you have just undone your fasting. Okay, especially in that fasting window. So you can just say, let me just take a slice of bread and continue your fast. That continuation of fast that you want to continue is no longer fasting. You might as well just eat normally, okay, and just know that you are done with fasting. Okay, so you basically end your fast by taking a slice of bread. I think I should have rephrased the question by asking, how do people end their fast, instead of undoing your fasting results? Okay, but if you take something like ginger tea while you are fasting, then you are still fasting. Okay, if you take ginger tea without sugar or milk, you are still fasting. Okay, but if you take a slice of bread, you are no longer fasting. You've ended your fast. Okay, so I hope that that clears it up for us. All right, let's go to our last question. How much fat is lost from the liver if you practice fasting for 28 days? So you would only get this if you were at the beginning of the session. Okay, it was something that I mentioned as part of the benefits of fasting. How much fat do you lose from your liver if you practice fasting for 28 days? Okay, the correct answer is A. Okay, the correct answer is A. Oh, I'm sorry, C, 50%, not A. Okay, 50% of your fatty liver. So let's go back to that particular slide. So the correct answer is C. You lose 50% of fast. Okay, so if anyone is trying to reverse a fatty liver within 28 days of you fasting properly, going for about 16 hours without food and 8 hours during your eating window times, then you would be able to lose up to 50% of fat in your liver. And that's a significant progress. There is no medication that would be able to clear your fats in your liver in 28 days as much as your fasting would be able to do for you. Okay. All right. So we are done with today's session. Please let me know if you have any questions. And if you don't have any questions, we are done for today. Okay. Thank you so much for coming in and joining me live. I will speak to you at a later time. So if you have any questions, just let me know and I will answer them. Okay. And if not, you are free to go. Thank you for coming. You're welcome. I hope I answered your questions here, especially for this particular slide. I know so many people have questions on ulcer patients and medications and supplements. So I hope that I have answered your questions. Okay, I hope that the session was insightful for you. Okay, so if you don't have any questions, you are free to go. If you have questions, please let me know in the chat. Okay. Okay, so I take it that there are no questions. So thank you for coming. I will see you again next week, Sunday, by the grace of Almighty God. Okay? All right. Take good care of yourself. Sleep well. If you have any question, you can just send me a message. All right? I believe everyone should have my number. So just send me a message and I will attend to you. Okay? So good night. Take good care of yourself. I wish you the best of health. Bye.